So let's move on now to the co-main event.
Okay.
Valentina Shevchenko, Alexa Grasso, also a great stylistic match, but honestly, these ladies are both good everywhere.
Yeah.
We talked about, being in a discipline since you were a kid. I don't think it gets any more ingrained in somebody's brain as striking than it does for Valentina the Bullet Shevchenko.
Seriously.
She's as clean as they come, not just for females, but her technique is as good as anybody's, really and truly. Alexa Grasso is the new generation of MMA fighters.
Right.
You can't find a weak spot in Alexa's game. You want to go to the ground, she can submit you. You want to stay on the feet, she's got some great clean boxing and good hands.
Right.
Alexa's 2-0 against Val. And let's, get the elephant out of the room first. Valentina Shevchenko's 36, almost 37 years old.
Right.
The 35 curse is a real thing for everybody 170 and below, including the ladies. She's been beaten twice by Alexa. This is a hard fight for Valentina, but I think it's winnable. So I think the perfect place to start the conversation is because I think Alexa is the favorite, a small favorite.
Yeah.
What does Valentina do to get her belt back against a fighter who she's lost to twice, albeit the last one was very close?
Yeah, I had the last one going towards Valentina, and, I'm sure, I'll get a little pushback on that, but it was a close fight regardless. And
Yes.
Alexa definitely had great moments in it. But I think Valentina is going to come in with a chip on her shoulder. And we've always known Valentina to be an aggressive type. And the ladies, she's kind of like the boogeyman of the ladies' divisions, of all of them. And so when she goes out there, there's this aura around her. And most of the time, these ladies realize they've lost the fight before it's even started.
Yeah.
Alexa Grasso is not like that, and she's really able to hang with her in every realm. Most of the time when you see a girl who's got a good grappling game or a wrestling game, they'll look to take Valentina down. And time again, for the past several years, we've seen girls do that and then wind up getting tossed on their head when they go in for their entry because it's some sort of beautiful judo reversal that turns into a toss, and then Valentina winds up submitting them or something. You can
Shout out to our jiu-jitsu coach, Professor Draculino. Valentina, when she first moved to the States, I don't think a lot of people know, she spent a lot of time at Gracie Baja, Texas.
Yeah, right here in the south part of Houston.
Honed her grappling game because she was a lights out elite striker, but Professor Drac really helped her round out that game. So shout out to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And so she's as complete of a fighter as we've seen, especially in the female divisions. And I think that Grasso knows, okay, I've beaten this girl before. She is the boogeyman, and I respect her skills and what she's done in the sport, but it's my time now. So I don't think we're going to see a lot of conceding. I don't think Alexa Grasso feels like she lost that last fight, so she feels like she's the girl that's 2-0 against this girl that was the most feared woman in the sport for a long time. And Valentina's just going to be angry about that because she felt like she was robbed in that last fight.
Yeah.
And I don't agree fully with her, but I did think she won the fight. So I think Valentina's obviously got to keep this fight striking. Don't be afraid to go to the ground because she's very good down there too. And I don't think she has to worry about getting submitted the second it goes to the ground. I think she's able to scramble and grapple with Grasso, and she might even want to show us a little bit of that. She's kind of cocky in that way, where she's like, "Oh, you're going to give me a judo master? Well, I'm going to toss them on their head. You're going to give me a submission ace? Well, then I'm going to submit them. You give me a great striker? I'm going to piece them up." So she's really good at doing that, but it's one of those ones where if I'm her coach, I'm like, just
do what's going to win you the freaking fight.
Yeah, find the hole in their game and go exploit it because
Yeah.
you're good everywhere. But no, she likes to entertain the crowd. And I guess the 35 curse is something you probably shouldn't bet against if you're going strictly off numbers. But I'm not betting on this fight, and I do think Valentina's going to win. I think she won the last one. I think she's going to be really angry this time. She's going to come with vengeance. And Grasso's a great fighter. I think she'll wind up getting the belt right back. I don't think we need to see a fourth fight between these girls.
No.
Valentina's shelf life is expiring, and we'll probably see her in there maybe 3 to 5 more times. That's my guess.
You think that many?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really see her sticking around a whole lot longer. But if she wins this fight, it makes sense for her to do a couple more. And I think Grasso will wind up getting her belt right back, and then she probably won't get beat for a long time. But something just doesn't feel right about Valentina going 0-3 in her last 3, or 0-2 even. It doesn't even feel right to see her lose. And I know neither girl has done anything since the last one, but they didn't have to do anything. The division needs to settle itself, and there's clearly 2 juggernauts in the division that have to settle their differences before we move on. And it's the right fight. Great fight. Grasso's going to be fighting, in front of the Spheres crowd, the first ever fighting situation, combat sports show in the Sphere for Mexican Independence Day. It's going to be very cool for her. I think it's going to be a fun moment, but unfortunately, I think Valentina is going to spoil the fun for the Mexican fans and Alexa Grasso. I think Valentina gets it done, but probably by decision.
Nice. Well, in the spirit of college football starting and watching College Game Day yesterday, I'll pull one out of Lee Corso's playbook. Not so fast.
There it is.
Alexa Grasso is going to win this fight, and I'm going to tell you why. Valentina is going to have a chip on her shoulder, and she's going to be very difficult to beat. She's always very difficult to beat, but this fight is happening on Mexican Independence Night.
Yeah.
And Valentina said very clearly after the last fight, the reason Alexa won is because the judges gave it to her because it happened on a Mexican holiday. Now, do I agree with that? No. But that tells me that Valentina believes that.
Yeah.
And she's coming into this fight thinking, you know, this is Noche UFC. Right. This is, Dana White said himself, this is going to be a, quote, love fest to the Mexican people.
Right.
Well, the champion just so happens to be Mexican. And she's very likable. And Valentina, and she's the new era of female fighters.
Yeah.
So in Valentina's mind, she's got to be thinking, I need a finish or I'm going to get robbed again.
Right.
And I think that she may get a touch reckless.
Yeah.
And also the 35-year-old curse is there. It really plagues the lower weight classes. We saw Bilal just, you know, kind of thwart that curse. It's so the statistic is 170 and below. 185 plus, it doesn't affect it that much. But 170 and below, if you're over the age of 35, fighting to win a title, especially as the challenger, you're like 2 and 36 or something. It's a really ridiculous number. Like more than 95% of the time you lose. And Alexa Grasso, she's the new breed of MMA fighters. Yeah. She's come up in the world of MMA. She wasn't a specialist here like Mackenzie Dern that is trying to put striking together later, or Valentina that, you know, developed a grappling game and then came into her own as a really elite level mixed martial artist. Right. Alexa Grasso from the jump in the UFC has been an elite level mixed martial artist. And so I think she'll be able to stay poised. She's got a lot of confidence. Yeah. She's a very likable young lady. And Valentina, if she makes any mistakes, Alexa's going to capitalize on them. And I think Valentina is going to come just a touch too aggressive, which I think is going to allow Alexa to start to really get her ground game going and start to hit her with some shots as well on the feet. But ultimately, I like Alexa by submission again. Yeah. And I think rear naked choke probably third, fourth round, sometime mid-fight is when it's going to happen. But Valentina is going to make a mistake that she doesn't come back from because she's really eager to get that finish, and Alexa's going to capitalize on it, and still Alexa Grasso.
Wow. Well, you're right about that. You know, Alexa Grasso's maybe her best position is taking the back on somebody. She's so good there. Yeah. And Valentina has been in that position many times, and usually isn't even sweating when she's back there. But when when Alexa's on her back, sorry, their names are so close. Yeah. When Alexa's on her back, there's some serious risk there. You have to really watch what you're doing. So I think she's got to avoid it. And what you're saying about the recklessness, it reminds me of the last fight, because when you're watching Valentina, who's such a technician, she's so crisp and clean and always putting on clinics. When you see her throwing some shots that are a little bit more wild, a little bit less technical than what we're used to seeing out of her, you're like, oh man, she's really affected by what Alexa's bringing to her. It does start to make you worry about, if she overextends on a 2 and steps with it, and Alexa winds up, doing a slight arm drag, taking the back. And then, of course, the grappling starts from there, and Alexa seems to always be one step ahead. At least in the 2 fights that we've seen, she's always one step ahead of Valentina when it comes to the submission side and the submission threats of their grappling exchanges. Valentina does great on the ground and pound. She had some great moments from the top positions in their last fight. But when it comes down to scrambling, when it comes down to the wrestling to wrestling into positions that will lead to submissions. Yeah. Valentina isn't quite at the same level as Alexa, and that's where she's got to watch out. I'm with you. I think if she follows the same sort of playbook as Sugar Sean, keep this thing long, keep it rangy, strike when you need to, and make Alexa Grasso get a little bit desperate. Make her feel the crowd that she's there, that's on her back. Make her feel the big moment, all the pressure. Everything's on you. You're the champion. So if she can make the big moment affect Alexa Grasso a little bit and make Alexa abandon game plan, maybe by even causing it to be a little bit boring. If I was Valentina's corner, I'd say, look, she's there to entertain her crowd. There's going to be some feelings of, I want to get this girl out of there. Let's make it a slow-paced fight. Let's make it a little bit boring, get the crowd going crazy, and then she might try to do something out of character of the game plan that they devised leading into this fight, and that's where we'll have our opportunities. And once you have somebody abandoning game plan just a little bit, they'll do it all night long, and then there's holes.
Yeah.
You start to realize where the boat has its holes, and it's starting to sink. And Valentina really does need to control the pace. I think the best chance she has to win this fight is to control the pace. Alexa seemed to do that in the majority of the rounds that they've fought so far, but I still think Valentina is going to get the job done. It's going to be a razor-close fight. I've got a decision. Could be split decision, but I think 3 rounds or 4 rounds are going to go Valentina's way.